Welcome to Survivin on Spice, the podcast for burnt-out moms surviving modern life on caffeine, spicy books, and the wingspan of a feral book boyfriend. I'm Nadine Theiss. Let's take a breath and escape.
Hello, and welcome to this very first episode of Survivin on Spice with me, your host, Nadine Theiss. And yes, it rhymes, and no, I will not apologize for that. So, like I said, welcome. I'm so excited that you're here. A little bit about this podcast and why you should be listening to it. So I'm Nadine. I write romance. I write spicy forbidden romance. I read a lot of romance, and that is my escape. So I am a burnt out millennial / zennial / whatever generation I'm in. I'm a burnt out mom. I am surviving on chaos. I am surviving on caffeine, and I'm surviving on spicy romance. That is my escape. Those the arms of my feral book boyfriends get me by. And so if any of that resonates with you, you are absolutely in the right place. And I'm so excited you're here. And so hang out with me. This podcast is meant to be our little slice of survival. So we are going to survive on spice. So if you are surviving chaos, if you are surviving burnt out life, if you are surviving adulting, if you will, and you're doing it through the lens of spicy romance and book escapes and feral book boyfriends, you're in the right place. So welcome. I'm going to start this off with a permission slip. So just your friendly reminder, you do not have to earn rest. Needing an escape does not make you weak, does not make you inadequate. Hey, it makes you human. It makes you human. And you know what? Spicy books, great escape. So you are hereby granted permission to do all of that and take care of you, because this is a crazy world we're in. And if we can get that little slice of survival, that little slice of sanity, that little slice of 10 minutes where it's just you in your book world, let's do it. Let's do it. So why this matters to me, this is so important to me because, like I said, I'm right there with you. And I primarily got into writing romance and writing fiction for an escape. To be that was my escape. Those were it started out as a kid, and I would, I hoard my notebooks and I would create these fantasy worlds, and that was my escape. And now as an adult, it's my escape from real life. So I create these worlds, these what if scenarios, my imagination run wild on the page. That's why I do it, to escape. That's why I have my nose in a book. I get lost in these wonderful worlds that have been created that allow me to escape my own for 10, 15, 30 minutes, or, till 3 a.m. if the chapters are good. So that's why this matters. And I wanted to create this podcast specifically to serve that escape function, because we all need it. We all need a few moments to shut the doors, to pop on headphones, to open a book, whatever it is, and just be inside our own heads for a moment and not have anyone need anything from you. Just those few little moments, right? Shut the bathroom door and pray those little fingers don't come under the door saying, Mom, I need this, I need this, I need this. And no one needs anything from you for this little sliver of time. And so if you need that sliver of time, that is what I'm creating with this podcast. So this is Survivin on Spice. And these are going to be relatively short form episodes. So if it's just me and you chatting, we're probably looking at about 10 to 15 minutes. So that might be waiting in the carpool line. That might be at the grocery store. That might be sitting in line at the pharmacy. That might be, right, shutting the door to the bathroom, putting those headphones on and saying, leave me alone. Give me 10 minutes, leave me alone. So let me be your escape. Join me. Let me be your escape. Let's escape together. All right, so who this podcast is for, right? This is for burnt out millennial, zennial, Gen X, Z's, everybody. I'll take y'all. If you are surviving adulting, this is for you. Specifically, this is for people who love to do that through the lens of a book. So we're going to be talking fiction, specifically romance, because that's my arena. A little bit of what I write, a lot of what I read. We'll chat about all of it. And if you survive on caffeine, feral book boyfriends, and 5 stolen minutes without someone yelling, Mom, you are in the right place. This is not the kind of podcast that there's no homework. There's nothing you have to, this is not another thing for you to keep up with. this is designed to be your escape. I'm primarily keeping these unscripted. I do have a few talking points. That's mainly just to keep me from going off the rails because I will. I can be very verbose. I can run rampant. I can go down rabbit holes and just absolutely talk your ear off. So I'll do my best not to do that. But generally, right, this is me unfiltered, and this is me this is real talk. So this is not scripted, and this is these are my thoughts. So this is not self-help. This is not hustle culture. This is slow down culture. I will not be giving any productivity advice, parenting instruction, literary analysis. No. This is 10 minutes to turn the brain off and just be. All right, so I am going to divide these podcasts into segments. So I've got a couple of fun ones for you today for our inaugural episode. I am going to occasionally have guests as well. So people in the bookish community, they might be other authors, readers, influencers, bookstore owners, really anyone in the bookish community. I've got a couple of folks that I've been chatting to. And so when they come on, we'll probably chat a little bit longer. Just so those episodes might go a little longer. When it's just me, we're really looking 10 to 15 minutes. Now, don't hold me to that. Sometimes we might go a little shorter. Sometimes we might go a little longer if I've got things to talk about. But that is generally what we're looking at. All right, so something bookish, something slightly feral. We'll start with that segment. So I want to talk about why spicy fiction, specifically romance, but why it matters and why I write it. So. And I'm not shy about it either. I write open door spicy fiction, and my family all knows that I do it. But it was one of those things that when I first broke into it, I felt like I needed permission. I felt like, oh, this is taboo. Ooh, I can't do this. And that was when I started writing it, and I just started writing unapologetically, and really started exploring the beauty, the absolute beauty of open door spice. And I realize that's not everyone's cup of tea, cup of coffee, what have you. But for me to break through that taboo, that that's behind closed doors, or we shouldn't do that, and do it anyway, was liberating as anything. And it really it allowed me to explore a beautiful aspect of humanity on the page. And in a kind of idealized version. And but yeah, just to basically give myself permission to not be held back by what society, quote unquote, society says I should and shouldn't do. That was liberating as heck. And so that was my escape. That was my escape. Writing's always been an escape for me. Always. For me, it's the ultimate game of what if on the page. So all of those as kids, right? Kids have amazing imaginations. I have two littles. Their imaginations are just astound me every day. And I envy that. And I feel sometimes when we've gone into adulthood, sometimes we lose that. And for me, writing and reading as well, I can get into these amazing worlds that these authors have created and really immerse and lose myself in them and forget for a moment that they're not real. And when I write, I can have these beautiful what if moments, right? I can have, when I wrote my first book, I wrote a vampire book, and it started with, I want to be a vampire. Why are the guys always the vampires in these books? I'm a girl and I want to be a vampire. So I said, okay, well, what if I were a vampire? And so I just started writing that book. And that's where my first book, Star-Crossed Nocturne, originally started. This beautiful game of escapism and what if. And that is why writing is so addictive for me and why I love it as much as I do. So anyway, there's a little something bookish, slightly feral about me. As we go through these episodes of the podcast, you will get more. I will say also that in this podcast, I am not sponsored, and that's for two reasons. One, I've just started, and I'm not quite cool enough for that. But two, and I think more importantly too, is authenticity is extremely important to me. And there are so many podcast videos, you name it, out there that are sponsored, and good for them. Absolutely good for them. But sometimes I wonder, right, can I trust the recommendations? Can I trust the talking points in them, right? Does that person really like XYZ, or are they just being paid to say that they like XYZ? And can I trust what they say? So that being said, if I will talk about some of my favorite books and favorite reads and everything like that. So I just want to go ahead and say this up front. If I talk about a book or I talk about really anything, I'm sharing it because it's important to me and I like it. Not because anyone is sponsoring that particular piece of content. I don't do that. Even in my email newsletters, I know that's a very popular thing to do among authors. We'll do kind of these swaps, right? Where you talk about my book, I'll talk about your book. I won't do that, and I don't. If I talk about a book in my newsletter, if I talk about a book on this podcast, it's because I like it, or I'm actually reading it and it really resonates with me, and there's something in it that I want to share with you. So authenticity is super, super important to me. And that's also why I'm not going to script these episodes. I'm going to have guidelines, but I'm not going to script them because I want you to get what's authentically me. And I feel like we need more authenticity in the world. And so I hope that I can also give you a little slice of it with this podcast. All right, so next segment, and I'm really excited about this one. Also, fun little fact, there was a magazine back in I can't remember its entire running date, but I know in the 90s it was a big magazine, came out of the UK, it was called Smash Hits. For the sliver of people who are listening, like, oh, I remember that magazine. Hopefully this is a little core memory unlocked for you. For everyone else, let me just kind of give the backstory. I read this magazine as a kid, and it had all of my favorite celebrities in it. I was a preteen teenager when I would hoard every issue of this magazine. And there was a recurring segment in Smash Hits magazine, which is sadly no longer in publication. I'm really sad about that. But it was called The Biscuit Tin. And it was a Q&A with a celebrity, and it was very literally a tin of, or an empty tin of biscuits, or what here in the US we would call cookies. And it was filled with questions, and they would pull a question. These would be random questions, and would read the question and answer it. And so the interview was random and all over the place, but you got that kind of real response from the celebrity, and it was great. And I love that. So again, if you actually know of that magazine especially from the 90s, which was when I was reading it, and I just unlocked a core memory for you, can you do me a favor and please drop that in the comments, and please commiserate with me so that I'm not feeling like I just created a fever dream of the biscuit tin from Smash Hits magazine. Anyway, to honor that, I loved that. I'm going to do a segment that is similar. And so I have a coffee cup, because of course I do, and it's classic Ninja Turtles, because of course it is. As you get to know me, you're going to discover that I love all things geek culture. So Ninja Turtles, Star Trek, Star Wars, you're going to get it all from me. So anyway, I recently asked folks to send in questions, kind of an Ask Me Anything, and I printed those questions out, and they are all on little pieces of paper in the cup. So I'll give that a quick little rustle, and I'm going to pull out a question. I don't know what it is, and I'm going to answer it right now with no prep whatsoever. All right, the question is, are you a comfort rereader or a constant novelty chaser, and why? Okay. I'm a rereader. Yes, but if I'm looking for comfort, just like with my TV shows and my movies, I'm a rewatcher as well. I think I probably watched Downton Abbey, the entire series, end to end, about 6 times or possibly more. So if I need comfort, I'm going back to what I know. So I am a comfort. Definitely, I'm a rereader. I do have my handful of books that I don't think I can read enough times. So yes, I am a definitely rereader. All right, I will do one more just for grins out of this very nifty classic Ninja Turtles coffee mug. All right, what do we got? What book do you reach for when you're too tired to be impressed? Okay, so I guess I'm going to break my own rules on this first day. I feel like that question is very similar to the last one I just answered, because I am a rereader. But I guess I should actually answer the question, which book? I feel like they're close, but so let's see. What books do I reread? Classics. The classic that I will reread again and again and again is The Great Gatsby by Scott Fitzgerald. I love that book. It's a quick read, and um, it was one of those books I think I had to read I was supposed to read it in high school. I did not. And but then after, once I had a little life under me, I read it, and it is one of my favorites. It's one of my favorites I go back to. And I just, one thing I love about F. Scott Fitzgerald is that he broke the norms. He broke the society rules about what he should write and what he shouldn't. He just did it anyway. And it's a book that's still read today, so that says something. That I go back to. I will go back to just the books that, if I got into a reading slump, there are key books that got me out of my slump, and I devoured them. Hooked by Emily McIntyre is one of them. The Russian Concubine by Kate Furnivall is another. So those are probably my go-to if I am my reread books. And then this is going to sound so narcissistic, but please go with me. There's times I'll actually grab my own books because I write the books I want to read. And so sometimes if I just need that comfort, I might go back to one of my own stories that I've created, because when I write, it's also therapeutic for me. So depending on what brand of therapy I need, I may have already created it with the book that I wrote. So sometimes I will go back to my own stories. So. All right, so that is the inaugural segment of the, I don't know what to call it. Smash Hits would have called it the biscuit tin. This is obviously a coffee cup, which is a little bit more on brand for me. But you know what? Actually, I'm going to put that to you. What do we call this segment? I can't call it a biscuit tin because I don't have one. Do we call it the spice jar, the coffee can? You tell me. So pop down in the comments what you think we should call this. And also, reminder, if you read Smash Hits and you remember the biscuit tin segment, please drop that into the comments down here too. That will absolutely make my day. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining me on this very first episode of Survivin on Spice. I am absolutely thrilled you're here. I am thrilled to be able to do this. This is creating this podcast. It's a project that I've been working on for a while now, and I had a coach and mentor of mine give me the kick in the pants that I needed to really get this going and off the ground. And I write books to be an escape, and I want to give you another avenue to have an escape. So if this resonated with you today, if this let you take a breath and say, wow, I feel that too. Stick around with me. We're going to have some fun. And if you want to have a question in the coffee cup / biscuit tin, pop that in the comments. You never know, your question might get put into the cup. So let's wrap up. Another bit of permission, right? You deserve an escape. You work so hard. You grind so hard. That sounded wrong. Didn't mean for it to, but I guess that's on brand too for Survivin on Spice. But you survived the grind. You deserve an escape. So if this provided you an escape for even a few moments, then it's absolutely worth it. And I'm glad that I was able to do that for you. All right. So please join me next time. And remember, if all you do is breathe and you read a few pages, that's enough. And you're doing great. See you next time.